I'm Howard Tiersky. I'm the author of Winning Digital Customers, The Antidote to Irrelevance. And I want to thank you so much for the confidence that you've shown in my team and I for spending time with this book. There are a lot of different types of books. There are books you just read because they're funny, and there are books you read because they teach you about other cultures or times in history that are fascinating. There are books that you read to expand your mind or really understand who you are as a person. And there are books you read as an escape, right? To just take you away from the world that you're in now into some other kind of adventure. Let me tell you a little bit about the kind of book that I hope that this is for you and for your teams. I assume a few things about you. I assume that you're somebody that's committed to driving digital excellence within some type of business or organization. That you want to create a great experience for your customers so that they'll love you and your brand and the experience that they have when they interact with you. And that ultimately you're doing it because you want and need to drive a business result. I assume you need to convince others to get on with your plan, to participate, to fund you, to help you, and that you have to deliver on some kind of a financial result for whatever investments are being made in improving a digital experience, a customer experience, or launching new products, or whatever it may be. I've worked with so many companies, great legacy brands, that are trying to reinvent themselves for this digital age that we're living in. You know, the world is changing now faster than we've ever seen it change before. And that was true before coronavirus, when customer expectations were growing every year for the kind of digital experiences that brands could provide to them. And listen, we've seen some brands that have done an amazing job and have skyrocketed in their popularity and their revenue. And we've seen other great classic brands that have been with us for decades, sometimes more than a century, that have fallen, that have struggled, and some of whom have gone away never to return. And we talk about some of those examples in the book. And, you know, to me, that's so sad when a brand has such equity and has great talented people and amazing assets and just doesn't succeed in making the change needed to remain relevant in today's changing world. And I'm so sympathetic because it's challenging, because the world is changing so fast, and because big companies really weren't designed to move and change that fast. That's where I've spent my whole career, working with companies from General Electric to General Motors to Avis to large sports leagues to giant television networks to some of the world's largest banks and energy companies, you know, retailers. I mean, you name the industry, I've probably spent time working in those large companies, trying to help them reinvent themselves and then to implement a vision of change as quickly as possible. And I can tell you there's a lot of reasons why it's quite challenging. And at the same time, it's essential not just to thrive, but frankly to survive, as we're seeing with some of the brands and companies, whether it's Sports Authorities or Linens and Things or Toys R Us or a whole litany of other examples that we could name of companies that are either gone or are in bankruptcy or are struggling greatly. And COVID has just made that more challenging, and here's why. It's partly because everyone's revenue, or not everyone, but almost everyone's revenue is negatively affected. It's partly because it's more difficult for some of our employees to do their jobs because of the constraints of work from home and having to keep an eye on your kids while they're in school from home and all these types of things. But mostly, it's more challenging because the world is changing faster than ever. You know, the CEO of Microsoft said we've experienced 3 years of digital transformation in only 3 months. And I think that's well said. And you know, I always say digital transformation exists at two levels. There's the pace of change in the world, the rate at which your customers are changing their expectations. And then there's the pace at which your actual company is changing to keep up with and meet those expectations. And so what I hope this book is, it's a guide for how to keep up, how to engage in an ongoing process to understand where is your customer right now. What is it that they need from you right now in order to meet their needs, in order for you to exceed their needs, in order for them to truly love your brand? Because it's probably different than what it was 10 years ago. It's probably different than it even was 6 months ago, right, with coronavirus. But how do we know? This book is your guide to methods to understand your customer and figure out where are they now and what do you need to do to be successful. And then once we know what the customer needs, how do we get specific about plotting a path to get there? And then how do we go down that path? How do we actually get it done? This is not a book of theory. This is a book of, practical methodologies, tips, and approaches that I have 25 years of scars on my back that have earned, if you will, the knowledge of how to do this, working in many of the large brands in the world. And this book is really a passion project of mine to try to write down everything that I know. And I got to tell you one thing, though, which is that I kind of failed to do that, because this book is 400 pages long, you may have noticed. So, don't drop it on your toe. But despite that length, there was a lot we had to omit from the book. There was a lot that we couldn't include. It's a big topic. And as you know, if you've looked at the book, it goes through 5 major areas, a process and approach to digital transformation, from understanding your customer all the way through the process of envisioning and executing on a change program to the leadership characteristics that you need to be able to be successful. But this website, which I'm so happy you've arrived at, contains a whole ton of supplemental material. Some of it is just chapters we cut out of the book, painfully cut out of the book, because our editor said, your book can't be more than 400 pages. No one will buy it. No one will be able to put it in their briefcase. We're like, okay. Some of it's things that we couldn't put in the book because, for example, they're templates or they're examples of deliverables, things like personas or journey maps, which are in full color. And this book, we printed this book in 2 colors, black and purple, but it's not a full color book, so we can't show you everything. Some of them are videos because some things are better explained that way. Books are great, but they have their strengths and weaknesses. So there's a whole ton of additional content on this website, as well as places where you can ask additional questions if you have them about the book, where my team and I will try to monitor those questions and give you answers as quickly as we possibly can. Because, man, we don't want this to be a book that you buy and stick on your shelf. We want this, the dirtier and in worse condition and more dog-eared this book is when we come visit you in your offices, the happier we will be. Because we don't want even this to be a book that you read through once. We want this to be a book that can serve as your cookbook, if you will, that you come back to again and again as you encounter all the different challenges along your path to transformation, that hopefully, listen, it's not going to have every answer. I wouldn't tell you that. But it has an awful lot. That's why it's 400 pages long, right? And I hope that it's something you're going to be able to turn to again and again when you hit challenges or hit problems or need a method or a technique. How do I get people in an ideation session to really come up with the very best possible ideas? How do I take a whole long list of possibilities and prioritize it so we're making the right decisions? How do I get my board of directors to give me the $10 million that I need to drive the change that I'm trying to drive? How do I get people to even understand why this is important and that they need to stop resisting? Those are all the kinds of problems that we provide solutions to in this book. And for all of the ones that I just listed, we don't just provide one solution. We try to provide you multiple solutions, because we know that it's going to depend on your situation and not every solution is going to work in every situation. So I just want to sum up this quick video by saying, again, thank you for buying the book, or however you acquired the book. Even if you stole it, I thank you anyway. Hopefully you didn't steal it. But because I appreciate the fact that you're spending your time with the work that we've spent so much of our time and energy crafting. And I'm really happy you're here on the website, because as much as there is in the book, there's even more on the website. And using them together, I think, is super powerful. So my real hope, my vision is that not only do you read this book, but you wind up buying one for every member of your team. Not because I make so much money from every book that is sold. You would be amazed at how pitiful amount of money that we actually make by selling books. Selling books is not a good business. But that's not really what it's about here. It's really about delivering for you a guidebook that you can use with your teams to drive success. And by the way, if we can be helpful in that success, our real business here is not books, but it's consulting. So by all means, I have no doubt that hopefully hundreds or even thousands of companies will be able to use this book and will never need us in any way, shape, or form beyond the information that's provided in this book and on this website. But if you're looking for more support, our main business, of course, is providing that more directly in a more tailored, personalized way to individual companies, and we've worked with dozens and dozens of major Fortune 500 and similar brands. So if that's you and that's something that you'd like, the information on how to get a hold of us is easily available in the book, on this website, etc. And if not, that's fine, 100% fine. Very, very happy if you have the book. Be here on the website. Hopefully all this material will be useful to you. Ask us any questions that you like on the website. We're happy to answer it as much as we possibly can. And again, thank you.